Yo guys, what's up? I'm back with a Deadlock video, and in today's video I'm bringing y'all a Victor build. This is the build that I've been using, that I've made. I've tested a lot of different builds on this character. I've tried Hybrid Gun with Fleetfoot and Berserker. Honestly, the best way to play him in my opinion is to just stick with Spirit and Vitality, purple and green. I've been playing a lot of this character, especially recently, but he's always been kind of my main. I've played him since he came out. That's around the time when I started playing this game. And I think I cooked what is a very, very good build for this character. There's a lot of different ways to go about building him, but I've had the best success with this build I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you why every item is there. I'm going to explain the order, the optional items, about when your character comes online and what they're capable of, and I'm going to show some clips to back that up. With that being said, let's get straight into it. I don't want to forget, I'm also going to be mentioning the ability order, of course, so let's go.
Bruh. Oh my god!
Shit.
Oh my god!
Alright guys, without wasting any more time, let's get into the ability point order. I'm starting here because it will make the items make more sense once I go into them and break down the different categories. So, you can see I'm going for maxing the 1 first, and it's actually the first ability that I get. A lot of people, from my understanding at least, typically max the 2 first, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's actually what I was doing for a long time after they nerfed how the 1's, leveling progression worked. But after going back to maxing the 1 first, I actually still believe that it's optimal. I think that it's the way to play the character. I think it makes the most sense. See, people max the 2 first because Victor wants to heal. It helps you heal. And the max of it is pretty good. I'm not going to deny that. But what maxing the 2 does is it basically guarantees that you're going to go even in lane, but most likely you're not going to win that lane. At least not on your own accord. Now, obviously different things can happen, like you can get a gank or you can have a really good lane partner, and then you're more likely to win that lane, obviously. But if you max the 1, you're putting a lot more of that into your hands, like your own abilities, right? Literally speaking. Your 1 is going to do more damage if you level it up. And if your 1 is maxed, it heals you. So, I know a while ago it got changed. The first upgrade used to be the damage increase, and this is when everybody did it because it did so much damage. It's still really good to max it because you get the damage and the healing, right? So I can heal for 18% of my missing health every time I hit a hero. This can work against multiple heroes hit in the same cast. So if I hit 2 heroes, that's over 25% healing. It's 26% of my missing health. This actually will end up healing you more than maxing the 2 would. Now, I will say if you're facing like a Bebop and Furnace and they're going to be going Toxic Bullets, maxing the 2 kind of makes sense. But with my build order, you still get the 2 maxed by mid-game. It's a little bit before 20k souls. It's around like 18 to 19k, I believe, that your 2 is maxed, even if you max the 1 first. So even by the time that you would want it maxed, you have it, but you don't sacrifice your early game by not having very much damage. Because we all know you can't really rely on your 3, right? So you're basically using your 1. So the way that I do my abilities is I go 1, 2, 3, 4. I max the 1 first, then I max the 2, then I put 2 points into the 3. I don't finish it, and instead I put 2 points into the ult. The reason I do that is because around this point is when you're going to be getting into like the late game team fights. Probably, right? Obviously things can change. The game can be slower or faster depending on the state and the characters and all that. But typically, this is around the time that I find that you're going to want 2 points into your ult. Just so that when you get revived, you don't just instantly blow up because you're at 60% instead of the 100% that the 2 points gives you. Also, because you're going to be late game team fighting, your team is going to be there, and the extra 13% damage, while it is good, won't be as useful as the extra health because your teammates are going to be making up for some of that damage, right? So you can just be more aggressive, be more of that initiator that you want to be, engage and you're not at as much of a risk because you're going to revive with full HP instead of 60%. With that out of the way, let's get into the items. So, to save time and to not just yap and have it be a big wall of speech basically, I'm just going to give a brief overview of my items and go more in depth on the optional items, the items that, are actually like more interchangeable. So, lane, mid, and late, these items are all left to right 99% of the time. Things can obviously change. You might need an item more or less in certain situations, but I typically find myself buying these items in the way that they are listed most of the time. Although late game kind of can differ, and I'll get into that. So, as I said, we mainly want spirit damage and health. So, I get extra spirit, improved spirit. This just makes sense. It gives us damage with the pain battery. It gives us more healing with the 2, and obviously the 3 when we use it. Now, you're not going to be spending most of the early game using your 3. I'm just going to put that out there. You probably already know that if you play this character, but pretty much your way of playing this character is you just want to try to soak up damage as much as you can so that you can use your 1. Your 1 charges by taking damage to do damage. Now, this can charge by you pressing your 2, it can charge by you hurting yourself with your 3, and just any kind of damage that you might take. A way that I would recommend playing is if you see that the healing ship is about to die, or it just spawned in, doesn't really matter, if you're full health, use your 3 to hurt yourself. Like, either be aggro in the minion wave, be aggro on the enemies, whatever. If you're full health, try to be aggro, because all that time that you're hurting yourself, you can charge your 1, and because we're maxing our 1, it'll heal us and also do a good amount of damage. So try to be aggressive with that. Next we go extra charge, so we can get an extra use of our 2. We go enduring speed. This character is really slow, so we just want to have more speed. He starts off with a measly 7.4 meters per second speed, which is really slow. A haze or an ivy can just straight up outrun you without even using stamina. So we go enduring speed to be faster than those characters. Then we go Healbane. Now, this item I'm going to talk quite a bit about, just because I think a lot of people would consider this optional. I do not consider this optional. I think that this item is insanely powerful in this character, and I think a lot of debuffing items you can say the same thing about. This character's very good with debuff items. His 3 stays on until you turn it off or you die. So every hit it does, it's applying a debuff. If we have Healbane, every hit is applying it and refreshing it for 8 seconds. My 1, obviously does the same thing. Now, Healbane obviously has its anti-heal. This is what it's known for. The enemy heals 35% less for 8 seconds after they get hit. But what a lot of people forget about is the heal on hero kill. Remember, this debuff on them lasts 8 seconds. So all I have to do realistically is go like this.
This is cathartic.
And now for 8 seconds, if he dies, I heal for basically 300 HP, which is a lot. That is a lot for just doing this.
Too much for me to take.
And all I did was 10 damage to myself. So if you really think about it, I guess it's 265 heal, but still, that's insane. If I'm with a haze, for example, and I know that the haze can kill the person, and I'm low, and the enemy's half, I know that they're gonna die, I can just go like this, and then run, and then I'll get a heal from that. Or, I can obviously help them and fight them, whatever, but you're gonna get a heal. And late game, when your ability can stay on for longer periods of time, this can net a lot of healing, because all you have to do is tag them every 8 seconds, which is very easy to do. They'll definitely die during the effect of this, and you're going to heal a lot. This significantly increases your survivability. It also gives you vitality for the investment. It's just really good all around, and of course, the anti-heal. Then we get Torment Pulse, which also procs this. This item is really good on Victor because we want to be close to enemies to use our 3 in the first place. And this also gives us health. We buy this, and then we pulse out some damage. It's pretty good. It really helps against minion camps as well. And it gets us to that nice 4.8k spirit investment. Then, this item is also one that I need to talk about because it seems weird. It seems a little bit out of place. But this item is actually really good on Victor. I might just be a bot for not realizing this sooner, but this item affects lifesteal. So we have spirit lifesteal here at 16%. This puts it to 19%. And that doesn't sound too good, but when you look at Infuser, which is 80%, it now goes to 96%. And I'm pretty sure that that active 96 also benefits from the 19%. That's the passive effect. So it's over 100%, obviously. It's really, really good to have Healing Booster. And obviously it also just increases the 2. It goes from 271 at this level to 226. It's just really good. Then we get extra health. This is because we're going to be building Colossus anyway, and it's, you know, it's good to have some extra health. It just kind of makes sense. Although if you wanted to put like enchanters here, that would make sense. Now let's get into the optionals that I would consider for early game.
Yeah, nah.
These are pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the only one that you're picking up most of the time is Healing Right, although I typically can just skip this section because we're healing so much and we're just, you know, not really looking to fight a lot early anyway, just enough to try to win our lane, and then we go into the jungle and we try to gank and all that good stuff. But these all have a place. We have enchanters for just general purpose spirit resist and also giving us a little bit more like aggro, like aggression, I should say. Weapon shielding for like if there's like a haze and they're just melting you down, you can get a barrier after they do 150 damage. Reactive barrier if they have a lot of CC, you can get a barrier. And spirit shielding if they have a lot of burst damage from spirit. Then we get into mid game. This is where we start to hit our power spikes. So we get spirit lifesteal. This is just obviously some more health, spirit power, and some spirit lifesteal. This is around the time when we can start to use our 3 a little bit more, because our 1 will also be maxed at this point. If you see, we're at 12k souls, so I'll level up. And we would have 14 of these, so I can easily max this out. And then now I can heal with my 1, so this is around the time that you should be, you know, looking to roam, looking to gank, looking to do all that kind of stuff, because if I 1, you can see we heal a decent amount. And if I'm lower than that, so let me just get low and charge up my 1 here, you can see that we'll actually heal quite a decent amount, and this stacks for every additional person that we hit, so right, that's a lot of healing, and if I hit more than 1 person, it would be that much more healing, of course. So then we get Mystic Vulnerability. This gives us 8% spirit resist, and anytime we hit somebody with our spirit damage, they take, or they have 8% less. So like I said, all you have to do is go like this, and that gets applied, or every time that the Torment Pulse hits them, it gets applied. So it's like a 16% difference in spirit resist that you get from having this item versus your opponent, which is pretty nice. Then we get to our first power spike. This is Infuser. Everybody knows it, everybody loves it if they're using it. And basically, when you press the button that this is assigned to, you heal to full HP, as long as you're hitting something. So I don't have my 1 charge here, so I'm going to charge that up really quickly, and then show you what I'm talking about when I actually pop Infuser. You probably already know what's about to happen if you've seen this character, but pretty much it does this. Now obviously this can be a lot better when there's more enemies around me to lifesteal off of, but basically as long as you have this and you can pop this and you don't get CC'd during it, or if you do, the enemies stay near you, you pretty much can't die. It's a lot of healing, it's a lot of lifesteal, it's just crazy. It's pretty much what E-Shift was if you used that on Victor before, except instead of being invincible, you just heal so much they can't kill you anyway. Then we go Rapid Recharge. This gives us an extra charge of our 2, just common sense. And then we get Compressed Cooldown, and we put that on our 2. So around this point in the game is when our 2 would be maxed, so it works out pretty good. You can see if I go to 22k souls, we would have 20 of these, or I think it'd be 19, but so I would have more than enough to then max this out, and then do some other stuff as well, like put a point here or something like that. So we get the -4 seconds, and we purge on ultimate debuffs, and we reduce its overall cooldown by 18%. So every 15.6, every basically 15.5 seconds, we get a charge back. So if they're using Bebop Bombs and Furnace Burn, Toxic Bullets, Spirit Burn, all that, you can cleanse it very often, and you pretty much will never have to worry about Bebop ever again, which is really awesome. So that timing works out good to have compressed cooldown around this point. And then we get to a point where you are basically a monster, which is escalating exposure. Once you get to this 27,200 soul threshold with my build, you're definitely online at this point. I would say you're online once you're at Infuser. Oh wait, I forgot about extra health. So 28,000. Once you're at this point, then you're online. Like I said, or like I was saying, you're online once you get to Infuser, but this is when you can really run the lobby. Infuser just lets you actually like utilize your full kit with your 3. Once you have escalating, you get the spirit resist, you get the spirit resist shred, and you get damage amp. So every time you do spirit damage, the enemy that you hit takes more and more spirit damage, up to 12 stacks of 4.5%. It's a lot of bonus damage. So you might also be at this point with your 3, and then you can see you're just going to do a lot of damage. This also affects your Torment Pulse, so your Torment Pulse stacks this and benefits from this. And then when you pop your Infuser, yeah, you're not dying. If there's more than one person around you, you're healing even more. You're never going to go down in reasonable circumstances as long as you're playing somewhat decently. Once you're at this point, yeah, like if you want to do Urn, you own that Urn, unless they have ults that can shut you down. Like if they have a Mow and Curl ult or a Lash ult or a Dynamo ult, obviously these things can still wreck you, but as long as your 3 is on and they stay near you when they're CCing you, you will be healing and healing quite a bit. I can get to half health. You can see it's just a lot of healing. So, but around Infuser is when you're really online and you can start doing urns and stuff. It's just this is like the second point. It's like the second coming, bro. Like you're just insane at this point. You could also consider some of these defense items around this time, the more expensive ones. Counterspell, if you're getting, for example, Lash ults and stuff, things that are really predictable to read, or like Bebop bombs, you know, you can counterspell those. Lash Stomp, you know, things that are just really predictable, like more burst damage style effects. We have Spellbreaker for the spirit burst damage. Metal Skin is very, very good and very underutilized. This item makes you completely immune to bullets. So if an enemy just loves to hold their shoot button at you, you can buy Metal Skin. We have Juggernaut. This is an upgrade from Enduring Speed. I typically would save this for when you're fully capped out, when your item slots are full. And then we have Plated Armor for heroes that proc on hit effects like Infernus, so that you're less likely for them to build up that burn on you. I can't. I can't relax.
Bro had 67.
And then last but not least, we have the late game items. So this is where the order can kind of shift from being left to right because it ultimately depends on the situation. Typically I would go superior cooldown here. It's only 1600 souls and it gives us cooldown to all of our abilities, which basically means our ult now gets cooldown. So it goes from the original 190 to 152. It's a pretty significant jump. Helps your survivability quite a bit. Then we have Mystic Expansion. So this item is really good on Victor, but a lot of people will just kind of dance around in your 3 and not really care about leaving it, or they'll just be too slow to actually get out of it because it slows them down while it hits them. You can also get like Mystic Slow and make that even better, right? So this item is really good, but if the enemies are just staying in your 3 without it, then you don't really need it. So most of the time, you know, unless you're facing people that know what they're doing, you don't really actually need this. And then I can just go Colossus. So Colossus you can also skip. If you're just kind of like running the lobby and you don't really feel squishy, like if you're not really taking much damage, like you're just like full health all the time, you don't really need this. But it is very, very good on Victor. It synergizes very well with him. See, Victor, likes to build a lot of health. He's one of the tanky characters, so he just has a lot of base health, all that good stuff. This is like the only item that increases your health by a percentage, which obviously means a lot when you're talking about a bigger number, right? So if I was at 31k, so that I'm matching my souls here, I would be at 2919. This puts me to 3552. So like over a 600 HP jump from buying this item. And then its active effect is really good because otherwise I don't have any bullet resist, you can see. But if I pop this item, I now have 35 and 51 spirit armor, and this lasts a whopping 7 seconds. That's more than enough time to kill someone, especially when you consider the fact that this slows their movement speed and dash speed by 30%. This makes it really hard for people to get away from you, especially when you consider your 3 is slowing them too. So you just have this, and then if I reset the cooldown here, if I can find it, then we pop this, and you can see like they have to get out of that circle to like not be slowed anymore. It's crazy. And if you end up going greater expansion, that gets bigger. This item is just really good on this character. He wants enemies to be close to him and he wants to be tanky, and this helps you do both of those things. It also makes you bigger, so you're more likely to take damage, so you're more likely to charge your pain battery super fast. Then we get Transcendent cooldown. This, like I said, it could be before Colossus if you don't feel like you need it, or it could even be after Boundless Spirit. But typically, I'll get Boundless Spirit last, because you're doing enough damage with escalating, and the Transcendent's giving you Spirit investment. So typically, you're doing enough damage. The Boundless is just that nice like cherry on top. This is like, if you're at this point in the game is over. Like, you should realistically win it. So that's the build, pretty much. This is how it's going to look. Then you have your 2 flex slots, and I'll get into what those items could be. So I considered Mystic expansion a flex item, and realistically it isn't, but sometimes it is, because, right, like I said, sometimes enemies just sit in your abilities. But realistically, yeah, you would probably want to go this, and then it makes sense to go greater expansion. But if you do go like this route, I wouldn't recommend getting this until like after Boundless Spirit, because you're not getting a huge benefit to your 3 from this. It's mainly benefiting your items, so it's benefiting your Torment Pulse to go a little bit further, goes from 9 meters to 12.2, and your Colossus, which goes from 14 to 18.9. And these are significant increases, but they're not really going to make or break your game. So I would just, run it left to right if you already were. I wouldn't like go this before finishing this. Now, items that are really good on Victor down here and what they do. So we have Suppressor. This item can be bought a lot earlier. Like, realistically, you can buy it sometime around Infuser, although I wouldn't recommend buying many flexible items before Infuser. You really want to get to Infuser so that you can start to really use your 3 and start to really get active. I purposely put it where I put it because this is around the point, around the soul count, when you as a team should start trying to get active. Like, you should be trying to roam and look for ganks and look for kills. And if you don't have Infuser, it's going to be a lot harder to do that because your 3 is going to be a lot harder to sustain. Not saying that you can't, but it just makes the process that much easier, and you're just that much more of a threat to be able to do that. So delaying Infuser kind of sucks, but sometimes you have to do it. So you have Suppressor versus the M1 heroes, like Haze, the characters that'll just run you down and shoot at you. This is really good because 30% fire rate slow basically all the time, because if you really have to, you can just go like this every 4 seconds. Or Torment Pulse procs it, right? They're just always going to shoot slower. Mystic Slow does the same thing, but it's for movement speed and dash distance, although only for 2 seconds. Still phenomenal item. If enemies are getting out of your 3, and you don't think more range would be enough, then just slow them down with Mystic Slow. Or if they just have a lot of movement abilities, then boom. Phantom Strike. This item is really good for engaging. if you really need a way in because they're playing really far back, or if they have like Grey Talons and Vindictas and just people that love to be in the air, like Lash maybe, you know, like you can shut him down from getting a big ground slam because it will pull them to the ground. We have Warp Stone. This item just gives you some extra mobility, and if you need bullet resistance but you also need mobility at the same time, then you can get this item. We have Curse. Typically you would want somebody else to buy this because it can put you off quite a bit because it's 6400 and it's not really like helping you kill more. But if nobody's buying it or you just need more of them, it's obviously a really good item. It can shut down a hard carry like a Haze or Infernus 7, whoever might be running your game. If you just put this on them, you can shut them down. We have Ethereal Shift here. So I don't see myself buying this item much anymore, but I can't understate the fact that it's still a decent item. You can pop this and cleanse debuffs, go immune for 4 seconds, I should say, sorry. And when you come out, you're faster, have more resist, and more damage. So it's obviously really good. I just don't see it being a staple item, and I see a lot of these other items being better because really when you have Infuser, this item becomes a lot less relevant because you're just healing to full whenever you want it, every 22 seconds with the cooldown. It's not all that, but it can be really good, and it can help you stall in the pit. Unless it counts you as not being in the pit, I actually don't know, but you can always then just cancel it and get the buffs. We have Debuff Remover. Your 2 already does what this does, but if you want to save your 2 for more healing and they're just applying a lot of debuffs, then this is obviously a really good item to have. Like if they have Bebop, Infernus, and Toxic Bullets, you might want to consider going this because it's just going to be too many debuffs to handle with just your 2. And also then it heals you for 300 if you cleanse anything, which is obviously really good. We have Unstoppable. This is really good for those like hard CC ultimates or just people that want to CC you with items like negative effects, like if they want to suppressor you or mystic slow you, right? Well, I guess suppressor not really, but any kind of debuff like shred, right? It can remove those and keep them off of you so that they can't apply them. It can just help you carry harder. And then obviously we have refresher. This is more of like, this is going to be the last fight of the game, and if you don't win that fight, you're going to lose the game entirely. Like, they're in your pit, and then you can pop this and have another ult. So you can ult, pop this, ult again. That is the items. Pretty much, I'll show some clips, and yeah, I don't really know how to close this out. That was a lot of yapping, more than I wanted to do. Hopefully I was able to explain the items and what they do and why I believe this build to be good, and it made sense. But yeah, this build is very, very good, very, very powerful. Let's get into some clips and then I'll close it out.
Let's go to mid.
Abrams is coming. Abrams is gonna ult this, that's how I'm coming. That's all it takes, baby. So yeah, guys, that's the video. Let me know how you're playing this character down below if you are. Let me know what you're building and what your favorite items are for him. Let me know how you're enjoying the game right now. I know that we're in kind of like a stalemate waiting for this next update. I'm really looking forward to a lot that's coming, like the new characters and everything. I couldn't help myself from watching a lot of the videos about all that new stuff. But yeah, when that update comes out, I'll be sure to bring you guys more videos. Stay tuned and stay safe.